Unlike a lot of traditional science classes where they're coupled and where you have to take the lab with the lecture, in biology you actually do not have to take the lab to take the lecture. The lecture is a 3-credit course and the lab is a 1-credit course. So I'm just responsible for the lab component. The lab does not necessarily parallel the lecture exactly, but we try to structure the lab so that students get a sense for what it's like to be a scientist. So we structure it in these sort of big modules, multi-week modules, where they go through the whole process of setting up an experiment, collecting data, doing the analysis, and then doing some kind of presentation, whether that's a written report or a spoken oral presentation. It's really kind of interesting. We do sort of 2 halves to this. So in the fall, the students will go out into the field and collect ticks. And we have a number of field sites throughout the college woods. And at each one of those field sites, there's a treatment and a control group. The treatment group being exclosures, where we have 8-foot tall fences that prevent deer from getting into these plots. And then we have a control plot right next to it with no fence. So the students will sample for ticks by dragging this cloth down these transects, and then we'll pick the ticks off the cloth and put them into, ethanol. So we know where the ticks came from. We then count the ticks, and then that data gets recorded. Then in the spring, the students will then come back and take those ticks that were collected, and we will extract DNA from them, and we will do PCR to determine if these ticks are carrying a bacteria which causes auriculosis in humans. And then we will take that data and map it with the idea that we're trying to correlate the presence or absence of bacteria with some kind of factor. So that's where the mapping comes in. And we just use Google Earth to do that, and we have the students have their data in an Excel spreadsheet, which is then converted into a KML format, and then that gets overlaid onto Google Earth. So rather than doing a complicated GIS type program where there's a steep learning curve, we just simply use Google Earth. I think it was appropriate for this level because we weren't asking complicated questions like topography or soil pH or anything like that. So I think it was appropriate for these sort of basic questions. I think they felt very comfortable with using it. It's a very easy interface to use. It was very simple to convert the Excel data into coordinates that could then be placed on Google Earth. That was very easy, and it's so accessible. Nothing to download. I mean, you download Google Earth, which is probably most people already have it. Mapping is so huge right now, and really, I think going forward, ecology really, really relies heavily on GIS, and it's so important to at least expose students to some kind of mapping.